Right now I'm at Larnaca Airport in Cyprus and I'm about to fly to Abu Dhabi, the capital of Arab Emirates. Most likely there will be around 180 people on board with me. All of us, while we were buying our tickets, learned that Abu Dhabi International Airport named after Sheikh Zayed. He is the father of the nation and the first president of the UAE. Very soon when we land, we will see welcome signs, advertisements near the baggage claim, we will call a taxi, and at every step, again and again, the Abu Dhabi International Airport will remind us about Sheikh Zayed. This person is the first thing the state wants to tell arriving visitors about. And the name of the airport, it's the way it tells. It is a way to convey some meaning. And in the case of the Abu Dhabi International Airport, the meaning is obvious. This person matters. Know and remember him. Let's imagine that you also get on display and fly with me. I will create an itinerary for your round-the-world trip, and you will see how strange, interesting, and different meanings are conveyed to us by different airports all around the world. Fasten your seatbelts.
Republicans are spearheading a long-shot effort to rename Dulles International Airport after former President Donald Trump.
This is a previous year's news, before the US elections. The airport was never renamed, but here is important.
Quote, as millions of domestic and international travelers fly through the airport, there's no better symbol of freedom, prosperity, and strength than hearing "Welcome to Trump International Airport" as they land on American soil.
It didn't work out. Democratic congressmen suggest naming a prison after Trump instead of an airport. At the same time, the logic of Republicans is completely understandable. By the same logic, the Abu Dhabi airport was renamed. There is another airport in the UAE that tells the story of another important person for the country. Or rather, an important family that rules the city of Dubai. I'm talking about Al Maktoum Airport, although the name was not chosen right away. But here is something strange. Dubai Airport is still simply called Dubai Airport, despite the fact that for the last 10 years it has been the busiest airport in the world by volume of civil traffic. It seems that if you want to say something to the world, you need to say it right here, where tens of millions can hear. But Dubai Airport remains silent. Perhaps because it's important for the country to make Dubai an independent brand. Or maybe because $35 billion have been invested in Al Maktoum Airport and very soon it will be 5 times larger than Dubai Airport in terms of passenger traffic. Yes, I think that's why. In general, quite a few airports around the world try to tell us about important people for the country. Travel to Baku and you will arrive at Heydar Aliyev Airport, the father of the nation in Azerbaijan. Buy tickets to Istanbul and you will arrive at Ataturk Airport. Although, no, wait. Ataturk Airport was closed in 2019. Moreover, the government decided to build a pandemic hospital here, which sparked a surge of public criticism. What nonsense! How can you close an airport named after the father of the nation of Turkey? The thing is, Erdogan has a complicated relationship with Ataturk. In some ways they compete. That's why Istanbul International Airport, which was opened instead of Ataturk Airport, tries to tell us, this person matters, but don't remember him. Okay, let's leave Turkey and fly to Serbia. Here the main airport of the capital is named after Nikola Tesla. But Nikola Tesla, although born in what is now Croatia, grew up in Austria-Hungary and spent most of his life in the USA. Despite being ethnically Serbian, he spent exactly 1 day in Serbia. Oh, and his ashes have been kept here for almost 70 years. The thing is, Nikola Tesla is such an important figure that Serbia and Croatia are fighting for the right to use his name. The leaders of both countries argue about who will place his image on their national coins. If in Turkey Erdogan is trying to push Ataturk aside, then in Serbia, on the contrary, not only the state but even the church is fighting for the right to be the official representative of Tesla's legacy. In 2014, at the initiative of the Patriarch, there was an attempt to move Tesla's remains to the Church of Saint Sava. But public protests and campaigns of discontent on social media began, so the church officials did not succeed. The Tesla-named airport is trying to tell us, this person matters. Know and remember that he is ours. But we are flying further, to Palermo in Sicily. The airport here is named after two people, Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino. Try to guess what they are known for. Politicians, athletes, pizza inventors. In fact, Falcone and Borsellino are judges, legendary fighters against the Sicilian Mafia, and both were killed by the hands of Cosa Nostra. They were each blown up in their cars. It was revenge. Falcone and Borsellino dealt the most powerful blow to the Mafia in Italy's history. During the major trial in the late 1980s, they managed to put 360 people behind bars, legally and devastatingly. Palermo Airport tells us, you are flying to the homeland of the Sicilian Mafia, but it is no longer here. Here on this Wikipedia page, airports around the world named after famous people are listed. There are hundreds of them, but you have already realized that they only seem similar if you look very superficially. Even when airports are named after people of the same status, like father of the nation, they often carry completely different meanings. Our next destination is a small island near Tanzania. The local airport is called Mafia Airport. Do you think it is because there was a Tanzanian Cosa Nostra here too? No. The thing is, in Swahili the phrase mahali pa afya means healing land or healthy place. The Mafia Airport tries to tell us, our island is a paradise. But the airport can't quite articulate that. Travelers hear something on their own.
And I'm going to blame some of the people in this room.
Next, we need to go to Colombia with a stopover somewhere in Europe. But honestly, airport names in Europe are boring. Mostly they repeat the name of the city, so we will fly through the French city of Lyon. The airport here is named after Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, a famous military pilot. Yes, you heard it right. By the way, about 7% of all airports in the world are named after people of the sky. From the moment France declared war on Germany in 1939, Exupéry fought against Germany and engaged in aerial reconnaissance. For this, he received the War Cross and the Legion of Honor. As a pilot, he survived 15 plane crashes, but in 1944, the war took his life too. The Lyon airport tries to tell us, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry is not just about the Little Prince. Here it is, Eldorado Airport, Colombia. A rare example of an airport named after a myth. The golden country of Eldorado was sought along the banks of the Amazon, of the coast of Venezuela and in Guyana. But the real roots of this story are in Colombia, among the epic of the Muisca people. When the chief of this tribe died, his successor was called the Gilded One, covered in gold dust, and he went to Lake Guatavita to make offerings to the gods. Eldorado Airport is trying to tell us, the golden country is us. Well, at least it's part of our history. The next airport we will visit is in the USA, and it's called Newark Liberty. Newark is the name of the city, and the Statue of Liberty is only 15 miles away from the airport. But that's not the point at all. The airport was renamed from Newark Airport to Newark Liberty Airport in 2001 after the tragedy of September 11. On that fateful day, terrorists hijacked 4 planes. The whole world remembers 3 of them. But the fourth, Flight 93, flying from Newark, crashed in a field not reaching the capital which it was planning to ram. The passengers of this flight resisted the terrorists when they learned from their relatives over the phone calls about what had happened to other planes. Everyone on board perished. 7 crew members, 33 passengers and 4 terrorists. This is what liberty might look like. Newark Airport tells us, true freedom is the freedom to choose ideals you are willing to die for. Even when you are sentenced, you are free. Let's fly further. Canada, Slave Lake Airport. What a name, right? By the way, we flew here from Liberty Airport. Why hasn't it been renamed yet in today's world? The thing is, Slave Lake is part of Canada's indigenous heritage.
One indigenous tribe called another slavey or simply slave. Therefore, over time, a town named Slave Lake was formed there, with two nearby lakes called Great Slave Lake and Lesser Slave Lake, as well as two rivers with the same names. Obviously, the airport didn't stand a chance. So now the airport is trying to tell us Canada is against slavery, but varnished tail can't be round. A very similar situation is with Red Devil Airport, which is located in Alaska, just on our way. It would seem that in the USA, where 2/3 of the adult population are Christians, such a name is simply unacceptable. But no, quite simply, Red Devil is a census-designated place. By the way, check out the logo. But the history of this place is not associated with satanic cults. In 1921, a mercury mine was opened here. To understand why Red Devil, let me show you Mercury. This airport says roughly the same thing as its Canadian counterpart. Varnished tail can't be round.
From Alaska, it would be convenient to fly to Russia because it's nearby, especially since 2019 a whole campaign took place in Russia to rename more than 40 airports after famous cultural figures. But I'm from Ukraine, so I will avoid this tricolor swamp.
Before returning to Larnaca Airport and ending our virtual world tour, we will fly to Indonesia, to the island of Sumatra. Here is the Minangkabau International Airport, and it is the only airport in the world named after an ethnic group. Here it is, true democracy. Not one person is brought to the forefront, but an entire ethnic group, even though it is not the largest ethnic group living on Sumatra. What do you think this airport is really trying to tell us? Write in the comments. That's it, we have arrived back in Larnaca. I want to believe that after our trip, you look at the airport names not only as destination branding, but also as a source of governmental meanings. Everything around is trying to tell us something, and this channel will help you to understand what exactly. Subscribe and see you soon.